Before we get started, I just want to say thank you for hitting that play button and listening in. And hopefully you will find something in this that you learn from it, maybe inspired by it, and just continue to connect with good folks. But we'll jump right in. I have my good friends, Justin Fortney, right here. And then for those of you on the video, that's Justin. And then Chris Evans. I won't have we've been talking about Justin's goodness of how he has a team of people helping him with his podcast and stuff and putting words in the names. You won't get that here. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. But what I was going to say, because we were talking before the actual podcast started or whatever, that's what I thought. I was just talking about podcasting and what that's been like for you all. Because when did y'all start your podcast?
It was about a year. I think about a year ago.
I was like 5, but a year, yeah.
So it hadn't been a year.
Mm-mm.
Man, I didn't think it had been, but I didn't want to be wrong.
I lose track of details like that. I'm super bad at specifics. I like to say I'm a big picture guy.
Okay.
That covers my mistakes.
Yes.
I think we got 35 episodes in.
That's
like
what,
that. Yeah.
So Justin said 38.
Okay, 38. See, you're more little detailed than I am.
Well, we don't know if he's right, though.
Yeah.
He does most of the work, the typing out and all that stuff. So.
You just show up, though, don't you?
That is so weird. That's the cool thing about this podcast with Justin with Hit the Bricks is like I get to show up and just talk. I don't have to worry about pre-production, although I do work at it. When he sends me a list of who to talk or who we're going to have, and so I do a little bit of homework there, but I don't have to do any post-production. It's awesome.
Yeah. So what does homework look like? So let's talk about that. What does homework look like? So you're getting ready to do an interview, which in your field, tell a little bit about who you are and what you do, so people will kind of know.
Yeah, I kind of do a whole bunch of different stuff, but mostly day-to-day Guthrie News Page, covering all the events here in Guthrie and Logan County and anything that might be interesting on the state level that affects us here in Guthrie. And never thought I'd be doing news in my growing up, never thought I would be covering news, but I also get to cover sports locally here for Guthrie and get to do some stuff across the state as well. So that's kind of what I do in a nutshell.
Go ahead.
If you're going to interview somebody, do you have like a process for figuring out questions you're going to ask them?
Yeah.
What is question asking like for you?
Yeah, it's weird because usually when I'm interviewing somebody gets interviewed all the time, whether it be city leaders or fire officials or state representatives. They kind of hear the same over and over. And so I try to go in a little bit different. I love watching people who are good interviewers because they can ask the tough questions in the right way and go about the answer. And so I always try to make it more personable. Back and forth, and likely the people I do talk to in the hard situations, they understand it. The perfect example is Superintendent Mike Simpson. He knows, we're friends, but he also knows I got a job to do. He's the superintendent. It's got to come off the right way. So that helps professionals knowing that the question's got to be asked. I know you're calling me here, but here's what it is. So that does help a lot. And for me, it's a little bit harder because I know what it's like. Imagine what it's like, on the other side of something that's bad that's happened. And unfortunately, my family went through that as well this past year. And so you have to make it personable instead of with them because it's a tough situation, and especially when you're doing local news. When you live here, you do a story. And then you go out to dinner, and then they are across the way. And you're like, you get your good friend Mecca.
Yeah.
She comes down and does a hard story.
Yeah.
She goes back to Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And she,
she never has to see him again.
It's still personal to her, but she goes back to Oklahoma City, where I go back home and I see my Walmart.
It's gotten a little bit more personal now that she's my sister-in-law.
Right. That's why I brought it up. Yeah, absolutely.
She can't do us too bad. I'll have to ask her about it. Yeah. So
she has to do the good stuff because the bad stuff is easy to cover. It's the good stuff. You got to come down and balance it out.
It is awesome when you can interview somebody like a Dr. Simpson or whoever who's they're a trained professional.
Yep.
So if I ask somebody just the most stupidest question on the planet, I love it when those people can kind of just roll with that and turn it into a good question.
Right.
Like, oh, thank you.
Okay, what he's trying to ask me is this. Okay, we'll come to that here in a second.
I'm gonna transition.
Let me help him out a little bit. Yeah. So for upcoming journalists out there who may be listening in to this, what would be a tip that you would give them? Like if there's anything that you like, hey, as somebody who is interviewing people, even 38 episodes in podcast, you've interviewed just in the last year, 38 people. You sat down with them. And Justin, you may jump into this as well. Like what is it that allows for you to feel comfortable doing it? But then also just any tips on how to really get prepared.
I'll start first, and Justin with Hit the Bricks was a great idea because, with Guthrie News Page, I'm the one person. I have a lot of help in the community. There's lots of people who help me with that, but I'm the one who has to put it all together, and so I have to cover from like city elections to fires, all this weird stuff, and stories like the barber who's cut hair for 50 years, those stories have to be told. To be honest with you, I'm not good at writing those stories. I'm not good. Now, if it's an audio deal, I can do that. But I feel like this guy's been cutting hair for 50 years. There's no way I'm going to ask the right questions. I got to find that one thing that makes it a big deal. But with Justin's, with a lot of on Hit the Bricks, we've been able to do is a lot of artists and entertainment. That's not my strong field, and so I'm able to learn more with that. And my questions are different from Justin's because he's in that. That's what he does all the time. Yeah. I'm not in that all the time.
Yeah.
And so my questions are maybe aimed more to the people who aren't artsy, entertaining as I am.
Yeah.
So that's where I learned a lot, and it helps me have that. So.
And I think it's really helpful. I had never done something where two people asking questions of somebody is really handy, because if we're talking to someone, whether it's a musician, I can get kind of lost in musician talk sometimes. And so it's good to have Chris that can be okay, if you're not a musician, this doesn't make sense. Right. So speak non-musician with this.
Well, it's like Cowboy Jim Garland was on there. They're starting to talk about all the great stuff. I was like,
you were lost as all outdoors.
I was like, okay, I got to bring something. I go, how long would it take you to teach me how to play that guitar? Because I've never known how to play. I have no musical ability whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm like, how long would that take me to learn to play the guitar? And he said, for me, a week. I was like, yeah, right. So that's, we kind of bounce off each other in that field.
So I guess, one of the things that you're saying is that one of the tips that you would give somebody is, if you have the opportunity, maybe going to doing something like this, a podcast with a partner, and maybe both of y'all have different backgrounds, because then you're going to definitely have a plethora of questions to ask because you're both coming from different perspectives. So doing Hit the Bricks within the last year, what are some things that you've probably been most excited about since doing it?
We mentioned this the last episode. I think we did a pre-holiday kind of wrap up. It really has been great to learn more about, even though with most of the guests we've kind of known them, or at least we know what they're up to. But I feel like I know our community a lot better, just because sitting down to. And it really is a conversation. It doesn't feel like an interview.
Yeah, no.
And most of the time, we probably wouldn't have just sat down for 45 minutes with these folks just to have a conversation. And so doing that week in and week out, after a year of doing it, it's like, oh wow, I've had these 45-minute conversations with 38 different people over the course of a year, which adds up to just a lot of knowledge and kind of relationship building in the community.
Yeah.
And so, after a year of that, I'm like, man, I feel like I'm more dialed into what's going on around here.
Yeah, and just learning all the different businesses. You always hear about them, but I've never been inside their shops before or talked to them before. And you would never think of something like that. And they're all pretty darn cool here in Guthrie, too. So, I lived here all my life, but I learned so much in this past year from this show. It's amazing.
Now, one of the questions I got on Facebook said, hey, what should I ask you, the two of you? Now, you don't mind if I ask you?
Oh, no. You went through and edited all the bad ones, right?
I was just curious. Eric Harlow Fire chief.
Yeah, you didn't edit these. I can tell already.
Well, he asked about carrots. I didn't know. So I don't have a clue.
Carrots?
Yeah. He said, "Do you like carrots?"
Do I like carrot? Oh, no. I know. He's talking about carrot cake.
Carrot cake. Yes. Yes. What? Tell us. Is there a backstory to this that you can share? What's going on with carrot cake?
Well, we have a little lunch group, and back in the day, it's where there's been so many restaurants inside this business. It's where Senor Lopez is at right now. I can't remember the name of it. Legends. I can't remember what.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so we always play a little game, and the loser has to pay for lunch. Well, we won.
That's why I don't go to those lunch meetings.
Yes. Don't do it anymore. And there's 4 or 5 of them. It kind of adds up a little bit. And so I forgot who lost. Somebody lost. And so afterwards.
Well, somebody always loses, right?
Someone always loses. Exactly right. And they all wanted to eat dessert afterwards. And so I don't like carrot cake. And so the other 4 people would have ordered carrot cake from this place. And they said, "You want to play a game again?" And I was like, sure. It was 3 carrot cakes, to be honest with you. I remember it very well now. And we played the game and I lost. And those 3 carrot cakes were $20.
Oh my.
$20 for carrot cakes.
That's rough.
So I don't do carrot cakes.
So wait, did you know that you had lost before the carrot cakes, or you found out that you lost after eating the carrot cake?
You eat the carrot cakes, and then you play the game.
Okay.
I don't want to go into the game because there's a lot of children watching.
Yeah.
And then you get the bill.
Okay.
And so I was thinking 3 carrot cakes, $2 each. I'm out $8, not $20 for carrot cakes.
That's $high carrot cake.
That's a high dollar.
That
carrot
is expensive carrot cake. That was for a slice?
for a slice, 3 slices.
Oh my goodness.
$20.
Wow.
So here I was on cloud 9 because I had to pay $50
Yes.
for lunch.
Yes.
But here I am with a $20 tab for carrot cakes.
That place, like, they thought pretty highly of their carrot cake.
Yeah, I don't even talk about it. So yeah, so I get little carrot cake messages every now and then, apparently on the podcast. Too.
Yeah.
So that's carrot cake.
So it's going into 2020, right? Do you all set resolutions, goals? Do y'all have a word of the year? Do y'all do any of that, or y'all just go right in and just kind of let it come to you?
Man, it feels like I always have goals, trying to reach them. Just because of the new year, I'm always trying to. That's kind of how the feel is. I'm always trying to get better, whether it's better equipment, microphones, capture cards, lighting. Oh, there's so much, and we've gotten to do a lot of stuff for the state, across the state for high school sports. We got to do state championship for football, basketball, volleyball, softball. On the large across the state through the NFHS network, and so it's taken a lot of years of building up to that deal. So I'm always trying to get better week to week, month to month on different equipment or news ideas, whether it's something flashing on a website or push notifications or
For the football games, like, that's way bigger than just you.
Yeah.
Like, how many people do you have to have now to do a football game like that?
Well, like we were able to produce 7 state football championships in that.
Wow.
And Phil, we actually did 4 games of doing the play-by-play. So here I am doing play-by-play and production. And so when I'm doing the play-by-play, I'm working hard at calling the action, and then something might go off with equipment. And so I'm here 3rd down and 3 from the 15. Johnson back to, and I'm trying to mess with wires because I'm in charge of the production too. But as far as team, man, there's probably 7, 8 of us.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So producing that, gets kind of like super nerdy on the
techie.
The stuff, the techie stuff. But if you're calling the play-by-play, but you're producing it too, like, what are you? Do you have your sound mixing board, like video mixing board? How does that work?
Yeah. So Aaron Ryburn, who helps us on Hit the Bricks, he does a fantastic job. He'll do. We have like anywhere from 2 or sometimes one, and then for the games at UCO, we probably had 7 or 8 cameras plus instant replay.
Oh, wow.
So Aaron's switching all the camera angles. I have a guy controlling the computer, which is also the scoreboard and our lifeline for internet and all that good stuff. And then I'm usually controlling the audio boards of crowd noise, partner, and then we have a stats guy, and then we have camera operators, all that stuff. So.
Now, do you bring in all these people, or are these people that are kind of contracted out by UCO? What does that look like?
For UCO, we combined, my team and UCO's team combined for that production. But for our Guthrie football game, it looks like it's a big production just because of how much equipment it goes. Because, besides all the equipment, I also have like 3 or 4 wireless microphones because everyone likes to hear the official, hear the band, hear the crowd. So it's a lot of moving parts, and it takes a little while to pack up after the game's over. But it's been fun. It's nerve-wracking a little bit too because there's so much moving parts.
And if you're calling play-by-play, you can't be like, "Hey, camera 2, can you do this for me?" Like, do you have like do you like wink at them and like, what do you?
How do you switch?
Our mixer board, you usually have the sliders. Our mixer board is actually an iPad and it has millions of features. So I just hit mute, grab the walkie-talkie or the column and say, "Cool. Hey, zoom in tighter." Good job there by our camera operator there, Braden on the. Also, my camera operators, I have my nephew, my niece, my son. So I got a bunch of camera operators. It's high school kids, junior high kids. Brett Drake helped us out quite a bit as well, so I can use all the cameras.
They're not traveling with you though.
Oh yeah.
Are they traveling with you too?
Yep.
How cool is that?
Yep.
Now, when you started doing this, you just started with just a website, right? Like, yeah. What did that look like for you from the quick story or whatever, from start to where you're at now? Like, how did you start? And
I had always been in print paper, writing articles for the Guthrie Daily Leader at the time. There's been a couple other newspapers as well. But in 2007, I wanted to do a little bit more. So I started GuthrieSportsPage.com, which allowed me to use 900 photos instead of 1 photo on the paper. Able to do multiple stories because space doesn't allow you in newspaper. Audio, video, also on Guthrie Sports Page in 2007, which came about the right time because we won football in 07, we won basketball in 08, basketball in 09, football in 11, football in 13.
So everybody was trying to find.
So it was, it was the perfect storm. It came at the right time, completely best.
So you started out with sports.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to do from when I was in high school. I knew I was wanting to cover sports. And then a tornado came through May 24, 2011, I think it was, and hit the west side, hit the school, like I said. So I went out there, took some pictures, and Red Cross was needing some information out there. So I was putting all this newsy information on the sports page, and it kept getting a lot of views. Tornado, and of course, it's going to get a lot of views. I didn't know
People love looking at natural disasters.
Absolutely, but and I didn't know that at the time. I'm just putting out information because people need clothes, they need food, people love me. Yes. And so they're going.
You're just trying to help people.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know what I was doing. It was news. I thought I'd go out there. It's kind of like at a news station when something bad happens, they send everybody out. But and so I start putting a little council news going on, and then it's like, man, you know what? I'll go to GoDaddy. I'll buy it 1 year. We'll see what happens. Guthrie News Page changed. So
the Guthrie News Page become bigger than the sports page?
Oh, yeah. It's much bigger.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, I'm slowly moving all the sports page stuff to the news page now.
Okay.
Because I just bought 1 year at the time for Guthrie News Page because I have no idea, no reason to be covering news. I was 4th down and 2, not city council vote 6-1. I wasn't into that stuff, but it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and covering the news. And so GoDaddy, I'm paying all the SSL, all the nerdy stuff, hosting domains for Guthrie Sports Page and Guthrie News Page. And so I got 2 different bills, and I'm like combining here. But people know Guthrie Sports Page across the state, because at the time Guthrie was winning every single football and basketball. They were winning everything.
Yeah.
So they were coming to Guthrie Sports Page, getting all the information on Guthrie. So a lot of people know it, but I still have it, but I'm trying to.
So did you not take it and forward it to the sports section of the news page?
Yeah, I took all the articles, all that stuff, photos from the sports page now on the news page. So
No, but did you take your sports domain name and have it forwarded to your news page?
we're working on that now,
Okay.
because people still obviously go to Guthrie Sports Page, but
Yeah.
I am in the process of doing all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So.
That's cool. So did you have a specific goal that you can mention for 2020, that something that you're trying to accomplish this year?
For the news site, of things, bring in more audio, more video production to the site. Besides, I always try to attack it with different ways, because you can go with the print, you can do it with an interview. There's so many different things with the website, but just continue to get better at what I do. That's the main thing, and because the way I've always done things is for people that I think do the news right, or back in my old days, I used to umpire baseball. I always watched the guys who knew how to umpire baseball really, really good, and watch them. I've never gone to an umpire camping school or a news journalism, how to do this or that. I watch the people that I like, that I know do the right thing, like Dan Patrick, sports guy, best interview of all time. He absolutely is a great interview. So I watch him.
Hold on a second. So are you? So if I'm the interviewer and you're the interviewee, right?
Yes.
And you're saying he's the best what? Interviewer.
Interviewer.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Dan Patrick,
Oh, he's big time.
better than Oprah.
Oprah does good. Like Dan Patrick, they don't want to. The interview doesn't want to answer the question, but he'll keep going at it, and they finally crumble.
They're two different kind of interviews.
They're two different.
She's not doing that kind of stuff.
And he goes about it the right way too.
I love Dan Patrick when he's on ESPN. He's no longer on ESPN, is he?
No, he does his own thing now.
Yeah, cool.
Does he do a podcast too, or just the video stuff?
Probably all he does now.
All that, yeah. Well, his people.
Yeah.
His people.
All right, Jess. So same thing, 2020, what does that look like for you? But before you do that, you haven't really shared about what you do and what your work. Share a little bit about yourself, and then maybe go into, if you're a goals guy, big picture kind of, since you're a big picture guy, what's the big picture for 2020?
No, now I'm intimidated by it has to be a big picture.
No, it does not.
I'm the tourism director for the city of Guthrie, so a city employee. So our tourism department is me and Verla Rains and Aaron Ryburn. So our tourism team is a 3-person team, and I've lived in Guthrie for like 15
years.
Yeah, 15 years.
Around Eli's age.
Yeah. And most people don't realize my parents actually moved here first. When I was still living in Oklahoma City, they moved out here from, they'd gone from Kentucky, Illinois. Then my dad retired for like the 5th time, and they moved out to Oklahoma, and they wanted to live like in an old historic town. And so they moved out here to Guthrie. And so a few years after they moved here, Amanda, my wife, and I moved to Guthrie. So
when the tourism job came open, was that something that you seeked out, or did someone come to you? Because that was like, I've spoken to a few people like, this is the perfect fit. This is so Justin Fortney. I never know. Did they come to you, or did you go to them?
That was...
I said them or they, so we don't give them away. So.
Right. They both Verla, who works for the city, she was like, "Oh, Justin, you need to do this." And then it was also the thing where Leroy, the city manager, was like, "Hey, would you mind?" Because Andrea Post, who had this job before, she was moving on to a different job in Norman.
Browner pastures.
Yeah, Norman. It's not a bad town. No, it's all right.
It's not Guthrie.
Exactly.
Definitely not Guthrie.
But the city manager asked me if I would interim kind of thing to just kind of hold the fort down while they searched for a permanent tourism director. Yeah. So evidently I didn't screw it up too bad during the interim time. So
yeah. That's good. And so anything 2020 you're looking forward to?
The main thing job related wise is for the entire time I've had this job, I've been wanting and hoping to really put together an email newsletter, just to kind of have one more way of hitting people with the content that we create. We've talked about this before. You create this content, and a lot of times it's something that's really fantastic, and you throw it out there to the world, and like 10 minutes later, it's kind of run its course. And you're like, oh, I worked so hard on that, and then it's gone. And like, oh, and we only got however many people saw it, and you're like, oh, that's disappointing. Yeah. But finding however many other ways to make that stuff live longer in the world. And an email newsletter is, super, people have opted in to see that content. And so that's one more thing that I just haven't had time to make that work. And so this is the year I've got to find time.
And that's the cool thing about the email content, because that's the people who want it.
Yeah.
And so you're talking to the people that want to hear about tourism. They want that. And that's the other thing about I've learned with podcasting and News Page, is I always at the beginning, it's like, wow, we had this many hits. We had these people watching this video, but they're not watching this video.
Yeah.
But, for Dan Patrick, he has 10 million people. Well, you don't need 10 million people to have a successful product.
No.
If you have 100 super fans, there's your super. I mean, that's who you cater to. I mean, that's awesome. So I have grown in that area. It's like, I can't get 8 million views on the website. But you know what? I have X amount of super fans. That's who I talk to.
Do you do a newsletter?
I don't do a newsletter.
You do one?
Yes, I don't do it as consistently as I should, but I have a go-in motivation kind of email that I send out. Actually, I'm moving it from MailChimp, I think, to Square. So I do Squarespace. Squarespace now has it to where you can have people sign up through them, and then you can send your blog out as your email. So sometimes people will have to do the blog and then you do the email too. Mm-hmm. Now you can just write your blog talking about it being there forever. Now it's on your blog and not just in your email, because the thing about the email is it just ships down, right? Blog as well, but you can always search that. People can come to your page and search that, so and you can research it.
And your website's a Squarespace site already. So
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. So you would have to use Squarespace. I would assume if Squarespace is doing it, everybody else is probably going to start doing it. Wix, whoever else, GoDaddy, all those different things. So I'm super excited about that, because now it's easier than me trying to do a email and a blog post.
Yeah. Chris, what's your website through? What do you use?
GoDaddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
GoDaddy. What's your goal for 20? I know one of the goals is for this show here, right?
Yeah.
Consistent with
I want to do 52.
Yeah.
So I want to try to keep up with you guys. And So for 2020, that's probably my big thing. So I'm really focusing on just trying to do less in order to do more, because I'm pretty involved in a whole bunch of different things.
Absolutely.
And so I'm trying to just bring that down some.
And people watching, listening, 52, that's just 1 week. But, this is the easy part.
Oh, yes.
when we leave out of here and Justin gets on his bike and goes back to work and I go to the next deal, you got to edit all this, audio level, add graphic, if you want to do all that stuff. I mean, you can spend 4 times the amount of time from this interview just on graphics and all that good stuff, which you don't need to do that.
Well, leading up to it, Justin and I were talking about landing the interviews, right? You all are easy. I text you, hey, come by 3:00.
Yeah.
That's very easy.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's going back and forth with people, trying to get them, hold them, trying to get them to respond. So it takes time doing that. But again, cutting out other things to do that. Cause I just think podcasts, the audio, being able to have something that's always there. This gives me opportunity to learn from people. Mm-hmm. I mean, the gist of it is hey, let's come in and sit down and talk about podcasts. Let me see what I can learn from you all. But then we post it on YouTube, we post it on Apple Podcasts and all that. Now other people are having the opportunity to do it as well. So I look at the 52 weeks as an opportunity to learn from people every week, which is great. Like you're saying, you're learning about the town that you live in.
That's exactly
because of that. So
if you throw out a podcast episode every week, and you do an email newsletter through Squarespace, can you embed the entire podcast in that email?
Yep.
That'd be
So I can
cool.
I can take the audio, put it into so essentially like if I wanted my newsletter to be my podcast, I could do that, right? And maybe I'll take from whatever it is 5 points from my last, and that'll be the newsletter portion of it. But then also you can get the full interview. So then doing those kind of things just allows for it to be a little bit smoother and continue to create content for people. So.
Now I can see you rather probably listen to a podcast than watch a podcast.
Man, I do both pretty regularly.
Okay.
Yeah, I like watching. And I think it may be because I do it. So I'm always watching people learning.
Exactly.
And
right.
then the thing that gets me upset though about myself is like, oh, I needed to do it that way. So my big, like before y'all came here, I was like, should we sit down? Should we be at a table? Because you watch all these different people do it different way. And it always looks great when you're watching them. And you're like, man, I don't know what. And so now I'm standing and y'all are sitting. So I was like, we're just going to do a combination.
You just do yourself.
Yeah.
There's millions out there. So just do what, that's another thing. I'm the same way. Because when I watch podcasts, one of the things I always liked is the backdrop. I love looking at backdrops. I have one in my office. It's not as good as this backdrop, but I always like to watch the production, not only the conversation. Now there's sometimes, but the production of it.
Yeah. So I like doing all that, but so I watch both of them pretty regularly. I probably need to do less of YouTube because the podcast you can listen. Like this morning, I was listening while I was running, and so that's easy to do. So, but yeah, good. Now, did you play basketball in high school, Chris?
I was.
And so my question was like, if y'all were to play 1-on-1, because Justin was a hooper, who would win? We might could do a fundraiser around this whole thing.
Like everything I do hurts.
What position did you play, Chris? Was you a point?
I was a backup point, but mostly a 2.
Okay.
Mostly a 2.
Where were you, Justin?
I was a 3, small forward.
Okay. Scottie Pippen.
Sure.
You weren't Scottie Pippen?
No, not exactly.
But had y'all ever talked about that? Like
No, we haven't talked about that.
No, we got some pretty cool basketball courts down at Mineral Wells Park.
We do. That's a really nice court.
It really is.
If you're listening to this, email me if you want to see this happen. This might be a great way to headycoleman@gmail.com.
I'm serious. Everything hurts these. Like yesterday, my son and I went for just a hike over at Liberty Lake, and I got home and I just sat down. And I'm like, like my hip joints were like, this is painful. Everything hurts.
Has he got to the point where he can beat you in basketball?
The last time we went down to Mineral Wells, we played like 2 or 3 games of 21, and now I wasn't like trying to really like I wasn't super dialed in, but he beat me like all 3 games. And like after the first game, I was like, oh man, I just wasn't even trying at all. For that second game, I tried a little bit harder. And the third game, like I probably put just enough effort into it to where it was embarrassing that I lost. And so at that point, part of me wanted to be like, okay, this is it. I'm gonna just like you're toast this time. But 95% of me was like, I'm tired. Let's go home.
Yeah.
So next time I'll have to like really put some effort into it.
I put effort on. I got a 15-year-old and he hasn't beat me yet. But the last time you have to win by 2, I had to do the extra win by 2. So I'm holding on to it as long as I can. Once it goes, it's gone.
Did y'all go to the alumni game?
Yeah, I was there. I did a little MCing.
Okay. What were you gonna say?
I didn't get to go. Yeah. I saw like you posted about it.
Yeah.
Now we were playing 21 to where like if you go over, you go back to.
Wow!
And so
the game.
That's what got me. Yeah.
Now y'all went to 20. Y'all played 21 because the last time you and I played some basketball. I remember. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
We were playing to first to 15 or whatever, and like it was taking forever for people to score, and so he's like first to 10. And then I think it got down to like first to 7. It was the worst.
Yeah. Then we use that stupid rule where like if you tip it in, like everybody goes back to 0.
Yeah.
Whoever got tipped goes back to 0.
No, we didn't.
We didn't.
No, nobody just could score.
That'll make a game last forever.
It was like the craziest. It was the craziest thing ever. Yeah. I was like dead, and I'm not a basketball player.
At different points in the last few years, I've played some of those games where like the tip rule, where if you get tipped in, you go back to 0. That will just last so stupid.
Yeah, who would do that? Why would you play that way?
Dumb people.
There's no way in the world. So So I got on Facebook again and asked some questions. And so somebody wanted to know more about the bicycle crew that you all do in Guthrie. Kind of talk about that.
Y'all, as in Justin and his friends.
Justin and his friends, not Chris. Chris, do you work out outside of when you playing your son basketball? Like, what do you do to like stay?
That's not a Facebook question. Get back to him. That's not on Facebook. Justin needs a question. Go ahead,
Like,
Justin.
focus. Focus, Eddie.
So rude.
How do you stay in shape, Chris? Tell us. We all want to know. At least I want to know.
All right, back to bicycle.
All right, back
You
to
just gotta get
bicycle.
that part out. Go ahead, Justin.
So I think who asked that? Was Lindsay?
Lindsay, yes.
So maybe like a couple years ago, every time I say like this just happened, that means it was like 2 years ago. That's how like my old senior citizen brain works now.
Because it's kind of red. Okay, you know what? It was red.
Yeah.
You do that a lot too.
Exactly. So I think the initial person who like started like the conversation about having like a weekly bicycle thing was Dave Powers. Who Dave and his wife Janae live just south of Guthrie Lake, and Dave is like uber athlete, fantastic. When it comes to like the big bicycle events, like he's the one guy locally who has a shot at finishing it with a reasonable finish for different things. So Dave like hollered at a bunch of us, say, hey, we should all get together and start like riding bikes together. Mainly like gravel routes, where there's so many like gravel roads in Logan County, and so Logan County's kind of become a little bit of a mecca for gravel riding.
Okay.
I know some of the folks who ride back coming from like Norman or somewhere else, like Cleveland County.
Yeah.
Is that
like Noble and
yeah,
yeah.
There's just not, stuff gets built out to where you get a lot of roads that end up getting paved in the county. There's not as many options outside of Guthrie. It's still like tons of like a great network of gravel roads. So I started out with maybe like 4 or 5 of us, like Dave Powers, Trey Woods, Travis Foote, Josh McCulloch, myself, riding each Thursday night. And then the first year that grew to, I don't know, maybe like 9 or 10 of us. And then it hit winter time. It gets dark too early. It gets cold, and so then we shut things down for the winter time. But then last spring, when we fired it back up, it really became a pretty regular group of 15, 20 folks. Each Thursday evening, I think we ended up settling in with a 6:30 start time, and it's a pretty like friendly distance for folks who like want to jump into like a gravel riding situation, where mainly about 15 miles going out into the countryside, and we try. It sounds like maybe a lot if you haven't.
You
ridden,
always say this,
but we do try to keep it like a pace wise to where like if somebody wants to just come out and try to
just a regular person,
yeah,
like Chris and I,
yeah, you're probably not going to die.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably not.
Coach Young always said you'll pass out before you die.
Exactly. Yeah. And so
is there a lot of hills?
yeah.
Well, yeah.
There's-
On dirt, rocks, gravel, mud.
That's the thing that people don't realize. People think that Oklahoma is like a flat place.
Oh, no.
Once you start riding a bicycle, you realize that there's nothing flat about Oklahoma, at least this part of the state.
Yeah.
But those Thursday night rides, we do try to have somebody somebody's leading the ride where like which way you're going to turn here. But there's usually somebody in the very back, which is almost always me, because I'm the slowest. Out of those people that I mentioned, like there's nobody slower than I am.
But you would probably be faster than me.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you would.
But usually like me or maybe like 1 or 2 other people will be in the very back, where if you're coming out for the first time, you're not going to finish last, because one of us will be back there with just making sure that the new person,
Team player.
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, nobody's going to.
Chris and I are going to have to do it this summer or spring or something. Chris, do you have a gravel bike?
No.
We could rent one, though.
All you need is you can rent one from or a mountain bike. It works fine.
We should do it just
Yeah.
once.
I think my wife has one.
We can vlog it.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that's a great idea. Like I would love to like try to do like a podcast episode on bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can vlog it as we go.
You could do, these road bikes are perfect
Yes.
for
Yeah. We could get it. We could make this happen.
heck yeah.
Vlogging the bicycle.
Yeah.
So how do people join? How do people learn more about it?
There is.
If it's a join, I guess it's not a join.
Yeah.
Show up.
Like Guthrie Bike Night is kind of like the name of that, and so there's a Facebook group called Guthrie Bike Night. You can hop onto that, and usually we'll post info about like if we're going to change something up for a particular week or whatever. You can hop on there and see like what we're doing that week. But we'll probably start the weekly rides. It's a little bit fluid in terms of like daylight, temperature, that kind of stuff. So at some point this spring, we'll hop back into those weekly rides. But what we do like during the off season of that, like folks who want to like ride like this Saturday, I think there's gonna be a ride Saturday at like 10 o'clock.
This coming Saturday?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's posted it out just yet there yet. But it's going to be
first here on the Hitty podcast.
Yeah, yeah. See,
dropping it now.
I need to. Now the pressure's on for me to post this.
Hurry up and edit this and get it out there.
Oh, there won't be much editing. Trust me. We can just upload this right after we're done here.
So like this Saturday, I think some folks are going to do like one of the G3 race routes. For this past year, we had Ray Channel did like a G3 race series, the gravel route series.
That's super cool.
Yeah, one of those routes, they were all about 60 miles. And I think a group of folks is going to ride the third route, which was like out towards like Meridian and that way. And so those like routes that kind of pop up, rise up to pop up each week. Usually somebody will throw something on like that Facebook page. We also have like a Group Me page.
Yep.
We try to like
a Group Me page.
Our Group Me like chat.
Okay.
Which Group Me is one of like there's like 4,000 different ways
yes.
And so I've got to like keep up with like Group Me, Base Camp, and
Did you guys go out riding this week like early in the morning?
Let's see.
Like New Year's.
There was a few of us that rode. Yeah, there was a group rode New Year's Day.
Yeah, New Year's Day.
I think they
start the year off right.
Yeah, I think they did like I think it was maybe like a 40-mile route.
Oh yeah, it's casual 40
out towards Meridian and back. No, I didn't do that.
Yeah,
no.
That's cool. So going back to your podcast, 38. Do you all have a couple of shows that were your favorite? Is there a favorite person that y'all interviewed? And why, if so? What was a couple that stick out in your head, or brain, or
I don't know, like the new arcade in town. That was a fun one, just to like, I just for selfish reasons, cool video games. Level Up Arcade. So just kind of being able to see what people are doing, especially with something like that, where people like local folks are investing like their entire lives into some cool new thing. That's cool to see. And when it's something that you're like, oh, this is entertaining, and you get to look at a bunch of cool video games. That was fun. And
you can tell it's exactly what Guthrie. I mean, that's a perfect thing what Guthrie needs or has with that new Level Up Arcade, and they're learning their business.
What is it called? Level Up
Arcade. That was, Galaga. Pac-Man,
oh wow!
Pinball.
Wow!
You have karaoke.
How you spell arcade?
ARCADE.
Okay, I spelled it right. Okay, maybe they just don't have a Facebook page.
Level Up.
They do.
Level Up.
Level Up.
See, that's another thing about some of these podcast shows. They have somebody who just sits over there and you're like, "What? Look it up!" And then they have a big screen. That's where I want to do too.
You don't have the producer talking to your IFB.
Yeah, no. I'm doing all the research right now as we speak. Level Up, I don't know. Let's Level Up.
Yeah, it's they had a great crowd out there on New Year's New Year's too. So that was
really?
Yeah, huge.
Well, I'm trying to find it, but I can't. So Level Up, LEVELUP.
Yeah.
Level.
That was a fun episode.
Byron Berline's always there.
Oh yeah.
See, that's the other example. Like Byron's been interviewed 555,000 times, and so I'm like, okay. How's this question going to be different from any other question that he's heard from? That's
even though I enjoy like interviewing musicians, it's also like a paranoia in my brain about how like musicians typically get asked the same questions over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so trying to figure out some way of, there are not that many questions in the world.
Right.
But maybe even like rewording it to where it just doesn't sound stupid is.
So what? Whenever you interview somebody like that, he's been around forever. What question has not been asked to him? Like, what made that so interesting to you and a good interview? Was it just him? Is he just a good interviewee?
Oh yeah, he's really good. He's like, I don't want to be wasting your time with the question you answered 25,000 times already on live TV. So it's always, like Byron Berline Music Hall. How'd you come up with Music Hall? I mean, what, I'm just like trying to come up with different ideas, and you always try people that are comfortable. You always try to ask questions that they're comfortable with, so they can talk about something that they're really proud of. And so, you name a building after something, I'm sure there's a lot of thinking process to go into that. So that was different ways of just asking different questions. So how'd you come up with this song? What year did you write? Who was the motivation behind that?
Well, and the great thing about somebody like Byron is that he's a performer by trade. So he already has to play the same songs like a billion times. Mm-hmm. And he's one of those great performers where he can tell stories. And he's used to that, like that. He has that skill of getting in front of a microphone, in front of an audience, and he can tell the story for the 4,000th time. Yeah, but that's why he's good at what he does, because he can do that, and it sounds like this is the first time he's told a story.
And then I get into a weird spot because I'm the news guy. Most people know Byron with the fires, and so I'm like, okay, is this arts entertainment? Do I go Barbara Walters here? Are you gonna sell the building, or are you sell the property? No, that's not the right spot.
This is not that show.
This is not that show. So I'm like,
this is Hit the Bricks. This is not News Page.
Him and Justin are talking like, I don't know what they're talking about. Because should I? No, I don't need to ask that question. Okay, goodness. Justin's asked 3 questions in a row, so you better come up with one. And I was like,
and that's like a super. I can't imagine coming at things from like an investigative journalist perspective, because like the only things I've ever had to do with like print stuff or like just like an actual interview has been just like, this is a good time thing. We're just talking about music or whatever. Yeah. I don't have to ask people like, so let's get down to like the, whatever of a story. I don't have to do that.
Yeah. And that's the one thing I want to make sure I'm not investigative in journalist. I don't want to do that either way, because that's a lot of time and effort. When I write my news page articles, I get in there, write what it is, and get out of the way, because you're not changing anybody's opinion. You're just going to give all the facts, and then you decide what that is. Because again, living in town, you have this side of the people who think this, you have people who think this. You guys, I'm friends with both sides, so you guys do what you got to do, but I'm just in the middle. Here's the story, here's the facts, out of the way. Yeah.
That's good. So let's go back to Hit the Bricks a little bit more. 38 episodes, 2019's done. Are y'all going to do like a top 10 show? Like, these are our top 10 podcasts from 2019?
Well, we kind of did a best of.
Yeah.
You did do a best of?
Well, right before the holidays, we did an episode where we just did like kind of like a playlist of like our musical guests. So we ended up with like 8 or 9 of those shows had musical guests. So we just did like here's all the music of 2019 from Hit the Bricks. That was kind of fun.
And Justin is so far advanced in this. We already got guests booked up for the entire month of January.
Wow.
How about that?
That is pretty cool. So y'all went weekly. All of 2019. What does that look like? Is that going to be the same? Is that the goal?
We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we also...
It is till it's not.
Yeah. Justin added in This Week in Guthrie, which is a pretty cool little segment too.
Oh, yeah.
Because the other thing is, your videos and podcasts, they don't have to be 45, 50 minutes long. I mean, they can be. Yeah. I mean, I've listened to some longer than that, but This Week in Guthrie, it was a cool deal because it's 2.5 minutes, maybe sometimes minute and a half, depending on what's going on in town. It's a quick thing, in, out.
And you're both on it?
Yeah, until we got fired.
Verla and Shonda took over.
Took over our spot and made fun of us.
I think it got way more views than any of ours.
I knew it would be. That's why I said don't let them on there, because it's...
So who did y'all have on the most in 2019?
Who we what?
Which guest did y'all have a guest on that was on there multiple times?
You were on there a couple times.
Yeah, I think it was just you. I think you're the only repeat offender for Hit the Bricks, I think.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Then y'all never had me back. Was I just bad? Like two's enough.
Sweeps months is when we bring you in. When we need the biggest numbers, that's when we bring you in.
So the Chamber magazine, I think it was the Chamber magazine, one of those magazines. They was like, they asked me to do a photo, and then I wasn't in it. I was like, what happened? They said, well, they said you were in it too many times. I was like, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. Thinking about the Chamber, the awards are getting ready to come up.
Yes, the banquet's
coming up. Who do you think Citizen of the Year is?
Oh man, I don't know. Who won last year?
Last year, Citizen of the Year
Is Citizen and Volunteer? Those are two different
ones.
There's Citizen of the Year,
Two different
Volunteer.
ones.
Kaylin was Volunteer of the Year.
Yeah.
Was it Eskridge Chevrolet, the Business of the Year, or Billy Clark get the Volunteer of the Year?
Oh, Billy Clark. Was he?
He
He might have been Citizen.
He might have been the Citizen.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Kaylin was Volunteer.
Yeah.
Billy was one of the two. And I've heard. I've heard a lot of candidates for all three categories this year.
A lot of candidates for what?
For those three awards at the Chamber banquet.
So it was hard for them to. They should have picked by now, right?
I think so. I'm not.
You're on the board, aren't you?
I'm on the Chamber board. I'm not.
No.
I'm not on the executive committee.
Yeah, they.
Okay, I didn't know how it worked.
That's the decision makers there. They come to us and hey, here's what we're going to do. It's like, now vote yes. Okay. And he knows all about it.
Yes.
They throw me in the corner with the legislative committee. I'm all by myself. There's not a committee. It's me.
Let me see if I. Oh wait. I just saw Billy Clark. Billy Clark, what did you win? Congratulations to Billy Clark.
I'm going Citizen of the Year.
Billy, what did?
I know.
I'm no good at being the researcher.
And it's at Dominion House, right? The banquet.
Yeah.
Food is always.
Oh my goodness.
It's a fiesta this year.
Oh yeah, Billy Clark for winning Citizen of the Year.
Good for him.
Yeah. Billy Clark's good.
Chamber banquet, January 16th, 6:00 start time. At the Dominion House.
At the Dominion. Now, how does that? So, Citizen of the Year. Anybody? Any picks? You think? Who do you think?
Citizen of the Year.
Citizen of the Year for 20.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Yeah, I will never win Volunteer of the Year.
Wait.
Those people.
Wait a second.
Those people who like Caitlin. And like Justin does all that. Those
wait a second here.
Amazing how much.
Let me look.
The work
Chamber
they put into
banquet.
that.
I've been super good at volunteering less the last couple of years.
Oh, look at me! I'm on this. I'm in the
There's
picture.
your picture.
Yeah. What is that? This year's?
Is that the one you gave away? That you gave an award away?
Yeah.
James.
No, I gave it to Dan Newton.
Dan Newton. That's right.
Oh wait, it's still open. Let me get you in here real quick. I'm putting you down for Volunteer of the Year.
I think they're.
Is it done?
I think
I'm gonna call somebody.
There's no way.
Chris
There's so many great volunteers in Guthrie.
Wait, but
Oh my God.
you are on every board.
That doesn't make me a great volunteer. Just 'cause
What
I'm
does
on a
that
board.
mean?
Well, I mean, the people who just take time out of their day to go spend hours with people, man, those volunteers, oh my gosh, I don't know how they have time to do their day-to-day job.
I would say that you are on how many boards?
I never count them. Chamber board, United Way board,
YMCA,
Sports Museum board.
Sports Museum.
See, I'm only on 4.
So, what's average amount of time do you think you would have to invest to be on a board?
Kevin Crafton. I feel like the loser at the YMCA board because these guys go out and about. Doug Ogle. I'm like, how do you guys do this and work at the same time?
We are talking about you, Chris Evans. I think you could be. So I'm submitting you for Volunteer of the Year.
It depends on the board, though. Some boards, you can show up to a meeting, but then there's like hours and hours of homework each month. Where especially boards that are super like fundraising heavy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like Midwest Jeep. We're on that.
Technically.
Yeah. I'm technically on there too.
It's hard to distinguish Citizen of the Year, Volunteer of the Year. Like what would make one person Citizen of the Year versus Volunteer of the Year?
Yeah. That's why. So when you submit, I'm on the chamber board and I don't know this. So when you submit, do you just put Hetty Coleman, or do you have to fill out why?
Yeah, you have to fill out.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, they want to know, like, why are you saying this person?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure I voted for that approval process of.
was before you.
Never mind that.
Yeah. The system, that stuff been around forever.
It really, that's a cool night though. January 16th.
It's a very cool night. It's great for Guthrie. A lot of great energy and all that.
And it keeps getting better and better. You know, some years the audio is not very good.
Oh my goodness.
You know, you've stepped in and helped with that.
Oh my Lord.
TVs have come in, make it easier because everyone, you know, the way we arrange the dining area, now everyone can have it so someone up front and all the way in the back can't see it. So it's getting better and better.
It was packed last year.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Do you know, is it going to look like it's going to be packed this year? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, no, I've heard tickets are going really well. And there's a lot of great auction items out there coming up as well. So I think it'll be just as packed as it was last year. So always, I'm
Did you go last year?
Yeah. I've never.
You probably have a table.
City of Guthrie.
Tourism table? Do you not have a tourism table?
No,
City
the
table.
The city has a
table.
table.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think City might have 2 tables.
Ooh,
fancy.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have never bought something at an auction before. That terrifies me.
No.
Like, that's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure to buy something at the
Have you guys ever bought an auction item before?
I bid it. I don't know if I won.
Not a silent one, but when you have to like raise your. hand.
Yeah. Oh no. But no, I've never done that. No, I don't have that kind of money.
No.
Like I'll play the silent ones and just hope, but
that should be like, you know, you have your greeting, like they can hire you to be a greeter. You should be like they can hire you to be like a bidder. That's probably like a job, right?
a bidder? Like I bid for people?
You can. They'll tell you how much. Like what's your limit?
Oh, and I bid for them.
Yeah, and
that would be cool.
Yeah.
It happens all the time because you have someone with money don't want everyone to know that he's based.
Yeah.
You bring in another person.
Let me build that website real quick.
Yeah.
Hold on, give me a second.
And people are like, "Who are you bidding for?" And you're like, "I can't tell."
I can't tell you. I wish you knew. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that would be fun. That'd be fun.
So a big thank you to all those businesses out there because, the chamber business, because there's so many, like John Vance. I mean, how many people go ask them for money?
Oh my goodness.
And it would be hard to say no, or it's just hard. So.
As a small community too, like it's not, like the same people are getting hit up.
Oh yeah,
all the time.
People don't realize how much Guthrie punches above its weight with good things that happen here, and the only reason why that happens is because those organizations just keep giving and giving and giving, and all that cool stuff wouldn't happen if those organizations weren't so generous all the time. Yeah,
and that's why we got to go in there and support them as well. So
it matters. I mean, that's the reason the Choose Guthrie stuff is so important, and continue to put that in front of people. Like, if we don't shop and do business in our own city, it's not good. And so we got to do that on all fronts, organizations. So talking about Volunteer of the Year, both of you are super involved. Both of you also have something else in common. You've both come and spoke or been interviewed at the student council for Guthrie Junior High.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
I enjoyed mine. Mine was good. Lindsay bumped me 1 week or 1 month, but... You didn't think that went through good, did you?
Why did I bring that up? Oh my goodness! Yeah. Now, Justin, you did it. How many? Have you done just 1 year?
Just one time.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you autograph the podium?
I don't think so.
No, I think were you in the band room?
Yeah, is that the basement of the?
Oh no, you were in the basement. Yeah,
the dungeon.
Yeah.
The dungeon, yeah.
I don't know if they had started that yet because you were when did you do last year? Or year before?
Last year.
Okay. Yeah. And so I don't know if they had started doing so now they help people sign the podium.
Oh, nice.
But I was going to invite you back for the spring, so
right on.
you can sign. You can sign it then. I think you coming in and just talking to the students about tourism is such a big deal. I think, and a lot of times we grew up. I grew up and never knew that Guthrie was a place that people would come to in the way that
kids don't think about that. That's when you're a kid, you think that every other place in the world has got to be better. That's just your adolescent brain.
On the other side.
Yeah, exactly. And so I bet kids who grow up in New York City are probably like, man, I bet those other towns are cooler than my town.
I gotta get it. I gotta get out of New York City.
It's so boring.
I gotta get up.
There's nothing going on in New York City.
Everybody's trying to get there. You're trying to get out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of like Orlando, Florida. Like I know, like my father lives in Orlando, and everybody says they want to go to Orlando. This where everything's there. Orlando's just booming. But every time I go there, like people are like, man, I can't wait to get out of Orlando. I'm like, where are you going? Like,
that was probably the most nervous I've been in a long, long time talking to those kids. There's something about like getting ready to talk to
Because you don't know what questions are coming.
Yeah. And so I was really just super terrified, and but that was a fantastic experience. Those kids are smart. They asked so many good questions, and they were like, I was kind of like trying to psych myself up ahead of time. Like I gotta like be entertaining, so they listen.
Right.
But as soon as I started, I was like, wait,
Be the cool guy.
They're already listening. These kids are actually like, they're like, I didn't have to like conjure up some kind of like hype rhythm. Like, these are like, kids are dialed in.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. That's the same word I was going to say. No, they're pretty dialed in. Like they're looking at you. And so it's really a good experience. I think everybody who has come have all talked about it being a good experience.
So you get to go on twice. Must been you did a really good job. I will say the teacher goes, that was the most interesting one I think I've heard. So I mean,
about yours.
Not good enough.
Yes.
I got a T-shirt. Did you get a T-shirt?
No, I didn't.
They didn't give out T-shirts this year. I don't think.
Oh man, those are cool shirts.
I know they didn't give out T-shirts this year.
Like the Logan County shirt.
Yeah, I know. When they did that, I was part of helping with that, and people didn't respond to it as well as I thought they would have. But it's a super cool shirt, and it has all the different. Have you seen it?
I don't think I have.
So the student council made this T-shirt to raise funds, and what it is the shape of the county, and then in that they have all the different there's all these different businesses that pay like $25 to be on the T-shirt, and, but it's a really cool T-shirt.
Very cool. Yeah, when you go on there, give the kids a advance warning. Tourism guy, Hollywood, a lot of movies being filmed. I bet you that I have a lot of questions on that because that's another big part of Justin's new life.
Yeah.
Is all these movies coming into his life.
That's
volunteering right there.
Yeah, that is volunteering. Yeah, Red Brick Knights, both of y'all. You probably wouldn't Citizen of the Year this year.
No,
I can see that. No. Can't you see that?
Yeah, I mean he picks the bands, gets them here, then he picks up trash.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Just the big. Well, the reason you're 60 years because you're picking up trash.
Yeah.
It's the behind the scenes stuff that I think there's so many people that the people do that go unnoticed that really I think should be applauded more so than people like myself. Like people see me out and about, but it's the people behind the scenes that are doing
with any
stuff.
event in Guthrie, like the trash. Oh my gosh, there's so much trash.
Shout out to city employees, the streets department for what they do.
You never know there's a big concert here the night before.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's
what really good job.
Like whether it's Red Brick Nights or Christmas or whatever it is, like that. So if there's like an event on a Saturday night, like if you go downtown like early Sunday morning, like the city guys are down there like picking up the bags of trash.
Yeah.
And so you, like by mid morning on Sunday, you would never know that something like big and huge and cool happened.
Yeah.
Because they just cleared out. Yeah.
And I think it was the churches put together a dinner for the city employees. I think a
luncheon.
A luncheon, yes, that's what it was. A luncheon on the west side. And Leroy the city manager asked me to come and say something.
Yeah.
It might have been you. I can't
No,
remember.
yeah.
Was it you?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember.
He's like, that was me. I was talking to
It doesn't matter. You were asked.
Eddie, volunteer of the year. 5th time. But when you asked me to speak, I was like, we have great city employees everywhere, but those parks and those streets guys, I will brag about them as much as I can, every opportunity I can, because man, they're out there where it's freezing cold, burning hot, middle of the day, middle of the morning, because there's a lot of stuff that happens that's not scheduled, and they have to go out there and
When a water main breaks at 4 a.m. and it's 5 degrees,
They're there.
You can't just say, we'll get to it when it's warm and convenient.
Well, or a windstorm comes and a tree falls down in the middle of Noble, and the police goes, "I need to send out the streaker. They're already en route." They got to get the sand trucks out, the city streets. So, man, they are big time. I'm glad they were able to get a raise. Leroy was able to work in a raise for them, and they deserve it. And they do all that on low manpower as well. Man, don't get me going. You better ask me another question. Those guys are big time.
Well, good. Well, Jim, thank y'all for letting me have the opportunity to just kind of ask y'all some questions and talk podcasting and City of Guthrie and all things that I know y'all love so much.
Is it hard? One more. Is it hard to talk about yourself? Mm-hmm. I've never. No. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, no, it is hard. Yeah, unless you're a musician, like in we're talking about Byron, who that's almost part of his job is to talk about himself because people are always asking. But if it's not something regularly where people are asking you about yourself, it's kind of hard. Like you almost want to feel like, am I bragging or
right?
Yeah.
Well, with so many professions now, in the gig economy, whether it's musicians or just freelance whatever, these people so many people have to do what they do, but they also have to be their own publicist.
Yeah.
And which is a weird dynamic. So the entire world now has to do their job, but they also have to promote themselves too. Yeah. That's a weird deal.
It's all about personal branding, now even to get jobs and everything. If you're not branding yourself, it's not as easy as it once was. Right. So, yeah. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for stopping by and hanging out with me. Thank you all for hitting that play button again and listening in. Hopefully you learned from something that we said today. You were inspired, and hopefully we connect.
I was inspired.
As always, ladies and gentlemen, go win.